I'll start the recording, but people do tend to join a little bit later for these.
Okay.
And I, as you all know, had uh, wanted to talk about conference planning today. Um, but if we finish that and want to talk about other things, that's obviously fine too. It's just that we have some, I know NAAE and AGU, both the dates for session proposals are coming up like mid end of May. So better to just get that conversation started now. And I'm not sure, those are the two that those are the two conferences I've been looking at, but um, AMS is one that people go to. There's plenty of other things that kind of are also happening around this time. So
Cool. Yeah, I actually consolidated some information for us for that conversation. I'll just put it in the chat if people are interested in looking at it while we're waiting. Actually, AMS looked really confusing because on the website that I found, it's like two different dates. So maybe we'll talk about that. When do we think that's actually happening?
that's
Yeah,
um
I can get started slowly. We can just do, if people want to do introductions. I mean, I know a lot of people know each other here, but if anyone feels like they want to introduce themselves and say hi, that would be great. And then if anyone has any announcements, we can go around, make some announcements. I'm happy to start. For folks that I don't know, I'm Lindsay Kirkland. I'm the climate change education manager at Climate Generation. I use she, her pronouns. This is my daughter Genevieve. She'll be here. She's gonna try to nap probably in a few minutes, so we'll see how that goes. Announcements. Well, I'm happy to be here to see you all. I haven't been back from maternity leave for that long, a few months. But also our Summer Institute has gone live. I think this is our 19th annual Summer Institute at Climate Generation, which seems wild. We're partnering with, I think it's 20 different organizations this year for our cohort model, CLEAN being one of them, or CIRES, or your new center. I don't know which one it is now. Seth coordinates those partnerships, but it's happening mid-July, starting the 15th. It'll be cool. It's virtual again this year, 2 days of collective days where there's keynotes and concurrent sessions, and then a cohort day on the third day. And yeah, we're really excited about it. So we're meeting with all the cohort leaders for the next 4 months and building out the plan and all of that. And then the other cool thing I wanted to share is Climate Generation submitting a grant to like a local Minnesota-based funding source. And it's actually to build a roadmap for sustainability and climate change education in the state. So the idea being that like we have a state climate action plan and we have these state equity and accessibility plans for education, but there is no like formal vision for how nonprofits and community-based organizations and teachers come together to like enact these things. And so we're submitting this big grant, and hopefully we'll get it. But what it does is it'll pay like a cohort of organizations to come together to talk and do community convenings across the state. And we really looked at Wisconsin work and New Jersey's work and other states that have been kind of doing something similar for inspiration on that. So we won't know for like a year, but I'm excited and it feels really cool to start doing some state level work on this in Minnesota. Thanks for letting me to take up some time. We're just doing introductions and announcements. If anybody else wants to jump on, happy to hear your voice.
Well, I am off to Albany tomorrow for my third and the Climate and Resilience Education Task Force's fourth lobby day in Albany for the climate change education legislation we've been working on. And that I am less optimistic that it will pass this year than I have been at other points, but it might still, and we might achieve the same ends through different means, but I think it's more likely that take another year to actually get stuff to happen. It's a fascinating issue where very nearly everyone that we've spoken with, legislators, members of the Board of Regents, folks from the state education department, all want climate change education to improve in New York State. And yet, because of the way education fails to change, that is probably not going to happen this year. Which is maddening and weird and interesting. Our lead sponsor did not put in an appropriations request to support the funding of it. That might still happen as the budget process deadline. The budget is supposed to be finished by April 1, but it usually is late. And so we still may be able to get it into the budget, but my guess is it'll be a year from now where we're hopefully seeing things come to fruition. So,
my boss used to tell me advice for working in state government, and he said, never underestimate the glacial speed of government.
yes, well, yes, I've made the joke in the past that the glacial pace is no longer an appropriate term to describe something that's slow, because glaciers have sped up well. Government processes have not, and school reform has not.
I do.
Yeah.
I'll jump on for an announcement. It's the same one that I made last week. My name is Carrie Herndon. I am the curriculum developer for National Center for Science Education. This is actually my last week with NCSE. And as of next week, Wendy Johnson, who's been coming to our meetings for some time here at CLEAN, she's going to be the representative. But the actual announcement that I have is that the climate change story shorts are going to be published on, I believe, April 20th. These are our short, flexible units of study for climate change. They're basically streamlined lesson sets. They have essential activities that teachers can use to address specific misconceptions in a storyline format. But because storylining is so difficult for many teachers to do, because it's such a heavy lift, we then add in these side quests that teachers can use to basically make a bespoke curricular unit for their students based on their students' questions. So we're very excited about it. We've had a lot of really good feedback. There is one that's currently published and is based in the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals as a solutions forward curricular unit, but the other ones are coming out at the end of April. And yes, as Don has put in the chat, Glenn is a speaker. I believe it's this Thursday, right, Don? He's done this talk before. It is the Children's Garden of Climate Change denial, I believe.
Yeah,
yes. And it's a great talk. So I strongly recommend that you go and attend the virtual pub with Don and Glenn. Yes. It should be great.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Thanks, Carrie. Thanks, Don. If anyone else has any share outs or just want to introduce yourself to the group, that's great. I see James unmuted.
Sure. Yeah, but how about Katie? She had the hand up first, and then I'll.
Oh, Jim, you can go first. No problem.
Okay. Well, thank you. So Jim Callahan, I think we all know, everybody knows each other here. So news or announcements, a very nice development happened in the Bay Area yesterday. We were able to actually have an event that climate change kind of got in the way of last term, but the Bay Area Climate Literary Exchange happened at the Shabuk Basin Science Center. Since Eric isn't here today, I will go ahead and say that I think it was very successful and very important. I don't know what the count was, but somewhere between 140 and 200 attendees, teachers, students, Many district representatives of the local or the East Bay public school districts, nonprofits and government people there. To me, it was just exciting to be able to see fellow teachers who are teaching climate change, for one. And I knew many of the students already, but I think that's something that would be great to see in other parts of the country as well. A place that locally we can get together in person and get to meet and get to compare. So, quite an important event. And when Eric gets back, I think we give him some applause for being one of the major people to pull that together. And I am looking forward to discussing conferences today. So, so Lindsay, I recommend Katie.
I don't know. Mine, I think I just wanted to remind folks that I'm going to be out. I will hopefully still be around next week, but I have a conflicting meeting, so I won't be on the clean call. And then I'll be out for a few months after that. So I miss you all, but I'll be back in July. And I think it's not set up fully yet, but Clean is planning for a special webinar that's going to happen in April. So just wanted to kind of put that on folks' radar. And we'll have more information about that soon. And Gina can let y'all know, but I think it's gonna be after Earth Day, like the 24th, it seems like. And we're going to be kind of talking a little bit about like creative communications about climate change and tie that into work that Patrick Chandler has been doing around how to teach climate in different subjects beyond science. So I think it'll be good. And I think that's the main thing coming up that I wanted to put out there since it's coming up. And we'll put a link in soon.
Anybody else with any updates?
Sure, I'll go. Rachel here, FAU Pine Jog in West Palm Beach. And I guess some updates we have is we're having a pretty good turnout and recruitment for our Climate Ready Institute that we did decide to initiate this summer. It's a fee-based program this time because our grant ran out in September. And so we've got 17 high school students from Broward and Palm Beach counties. That was actually a new development with Broward County. We tried to get them to update the articulation agreement with FAU so that they could receive dual enrollment credits. And the good news is they can. So I've been recruiting in both counties. So that's been a success. And I found out I'm able to go to the SOSCLP meeting in May. So I'm super stoked to be joining that crew and hopefully presenting some content, which I have some content I wouldn't mind sharing if anyone's willing to watch a 3-minute video, but just let me know maybe towards the end of the meeting if we have time.
Carolyn, go for it.
Awesome. Hi, I apologize in advance if I am a little off. I did love the conference I went to this weekend, but I went to a conference all weekend, so I'm tired and I don't have the time. I don't have the time to take off. But anyway, we have a training coming up in Tampa. I'm really excited about it. We're struggling with recruitment, as I feel like a lot of organizations are right now. So I will say that if any of y'all know folks in Central Florida who might possibly be interested, it is free. We will feed you. It's Saturday, April 8th. And I'm really excited because I'm partnering with someone who studies climate from a like literacy and storytelling perspective. She's not in the science department, but rather like language education. And I think it's going to be really cool as long as enough people show up. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Carrie. I sent it out to the Clean Network before. Maybe I can like do another email blast about it, but yeah, please help me make it so that all the work I'm doing doesn't go to waste.
Yeah, I think we've got some folks from that area in our network too. I can ask Seth and see if we can send it directly to them.
Awesome. That website is like the Anshin Center one, but then let me go directly to our sign up and get that link as well. And then people can see like the poster.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, Carolyn, when I do click on that, it immediately shows a fee for something. So
That's the list of events. You need to scroll down to the it's like the third event.
right, okay. Yeah, I think just to, if we're gonna share a link, is there one that's just that event to like
Yeah,
reduce
here.
the confusion? You know what I mean? I just know teachers and they'll click that and they're like, oh, nope, bye.
Yeah. This one is just, it doesn't it's the link isn't affiliated, like this link isn't affiliated with the college, so I don't want people to be sketched out by it. But hopefully if it comes from a source they trust, then no one will be concerned that they don't know what every action is versus knowing what USF is. Unfortunately, they don't have like an event page. It's just the whole list.
Yeah, I was just referring to the cost. They see 275 or something like that.
Yeah,
9
like I
times
said,
that
that's a
is
separate.
10. Yep.
Yeah,
Okay,
like I said,
but I
that's their
see your,
event. Yeah,
I
that's
see
the
your
whole
new
event
link.
page, and ours isn't
Yep.
that one.
I see your new link. That's great.
Thanks. For those of you just joining us, we're just finishing up updates if anyone has any, and then we're going to move into a discussion about fall conferences.
Oh, did I just say real quick for those of y'all who were here last week, Dr. Alex Panos, who was our speaker last week, she's the one I'm going to be co-hosting this with.
Great.
I'll jump in real quick. I'm not on here very often, so what I'm going to tell you about, you may have already heard about, I don't know. I'm Roberta Burns. I work for the Division for Air Quality in Kentucky. And yesterday, I think it was yesterday, no, it was last week. Gosh, time flies. I attended a webinar put on by the Kentucky Climate Consortium, which was formed a few years back by a friend of mine, a colleague who works at the University of Kentucky. And it's really a consortium of academics, of people who are doing climate work, scholarship, that kind of thing, research, to be a sort of a liaison to that research for the public. I twisted her arm and begged to be an ad hoc member of this consortium. I am not an academic. I work for state government, and so she kind of let me in through the back door. And this webinar was about a local program that was created a couple years ago called Climate Conversations. And I'm going to put the link in the chat, but I encourage you to check it out on your own time. I hope it works for you. I don't know. It looks like I've got 2 links there, but it really, let me know if it works. I can copy and paste it again. But one of the things that they developed in this little consortium of community members that cared about climate change was a game, a card game called Climate Cards. And it's based on an actual party game called We're Not Really Strangers, but they rewrote the, I'll put the link in again. I think I can make it work for you. They rewrote the prompts to basically encourage people to sit with strangers, even, to have conversations about climate change at various levels of deepness, from icebreaker to really kind of diving into it. And they said they've gotten a lot of really good results with this simple little card deck, just sitting up at a table and chairs at farmers market and inviting people to have a 7-minute conversation about climate change. They said that they haven't had a lot of real negative responses, mostly because people are self-selecting when they choose to participate in the activity. So at least they might be climate curious instead of climate denial. But they found that it really helped with the folks who were aware that climate change is probably happening, but not really sure what it has to do with me or what I can do about it and that kind of thing. And I'm just really jazzed about it because I'm also a board gamer, and I love anytime you can take a game and use it to really get people to want to learn more about something that is sciencey. So that works. Thank you, Dawn, for fixing my link. And there is a tab on that website for the climate cards and printable climate cards, so you can print your own deck and give it a try and watch video a little bit about it. So I just wanted to share that in case you hadn't heard of it.
Thanks. Sounds like a cool thing to add to your tabling event, or anybody's tabling event options. Emily, I see your hand.
Yeah, thanks. Hi, everyone. Emily Snow Brenneman from UCAR Center for Science Education in Boulder, Colorado. I put it in it's far up, it's mixed in the chat with all the other things, but I just wanted to share that we do have teacher PD opportunities coming up, free virtual ones in April, as well as in-person ones in Boulder, Colorado in June. And I know it's probably been shared. I don't come every week, but probably it's been shared past, but I'm going to keep sharing it because there's always different people on the call. So just please share. We'd love to get this out to a wide variety of folks. Thanks.
Thanks. There was a request if you can post the links to those. Thanks. Okay, I think that's it for updates. So we're here to chat about fall conferences. The list that I was given to engage you all in conversation about is NAAE, AGU, and maybe AMS, the American Meteorological Society annual meeting. I just put a little bit of a blurb for each one of them in the chat with a link to the website if you haven't seen them. NAAE's proposals for presentations are due April 26th, and AGU is April 24th. I think that's right. I don't think I got them mixed up. And then I wasn't sure about AMS. I don't really follow that conference, but if anyone's curious, you can dig in to find what information's there on that website. Yeah, I don't know if Gina and Katie had any hopes or dreams of how I facilitate this. I mean, let's start with NAAE. Who's all going? Is anyone planning on going? Do we want to try to do, is the question really, do we want to try to do some clean presentations, right? Not just our own presentations.
Well, both. I'm planning on going to NAAE this year. I'm pretty sure. I need to check a couple more things, but yeah, I would be interested in hearing for any of these. Yeah, who's going? Oh, even if like you're on the fence, you're not sure, just who's thinking about going. And then for AGU in particular, CLEAN usually submits like 3 different sessions. So if folks are interested in co-submitting sessions, if we kind of take a pulse on what topics are interesting to different folks in the network and then go from there. So yeah, I would be interested in talking about NAAE at first. And just if anyone's planning on going and maybe talk about, I would like to submit a session. So
yeah, if you're definitely going, you can put something in the chat, an emoji or like a maybe done. I know I'm definitely going, so.
Yeah, I am hoping to go, and I am trying to fly less, and so Pittsburgh is attractive to me in Buffalo, and but PRI's financial situation is still very tenuous, so funding is a real issue. But all 3 of those are actually in the Northeast. I think, except I'm not sure where AMS is. So I'll see what I can do. They are all question marks.
I think AMS is in DC.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, the pair of dates on the AMS website is because it's got last year's dates and this year's dates. So 2025 is in New Orleans for AMS.
Oh, it is. Oh, okay. Never mind.
I'll make that, and the dates for that are right there.
Thanks, Don. Yeah, the one AMS this past January was in Baltimore. So yeah, Lindsay, you might have been seeing
Oh, yeah.
old
Maybe I'm just
indoor.
tired and confusing. Not unheard of. Okay. Anne's probably going. Go ahead, Katie.
Oh, did someone say they were going to AMS? That's what I was gonna ask.
Oh, no, go for it. Looks like we're just still talking, like a few people are going to NAAE. And
We're still on NAAA. Thanks. Cool.
yeah, just a few people. Okay, maybe we can like circle an email around. It doesn't look like a lot of people here on this call are planning on going. Yeah.
When
Does
did you
anyone
say
know
you-
about climate education at NAAE though? I feel like, has there been discussion of trying to like do something more coordinated? It would be nice to have like, even if few people are going, if you're all interested, like maybe putting a session together. But I don't know if there's other groups within AAE that we should coordinate with or not.
The climate justice, well, whatever they're calling it, whatever the title is going to be, the guidelines for excellence around climate action and climate justice are going to be coming out or submitted to the EPA in May. And so I anticipate that there should be something on it. In past years, there's always been like a smattering of climate change workshops there. Yeah, but it's not been a coordinated effort, I would say.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I know many years ago, CLEAN did do a coordinated series of workshops at NAAE, but that was back in the early days of CLEAN. And several of us got together and did one of their half-day workshops. Back when not a lot of people were doing this. I think, we're starting to see a lot more folks offer climate things. I know CLEAN also generally does the CLEAN roundtable just to let people know we exist and how to plug in. So that at the very least, I would think somebody could submit for a roundtable just to introduce people to CLEAN.
Yeah, like I said, I'll probably be at NAAE, and I will probably be doing a poster for CLEAN, and I'm actually curious, Rachel, I don't know if you're around, but I'd be curious if you know if anyone from the ELP group is going, because last year I was kind of able to join forces with them. And that is like a really good climate representation at NAAE usually. Some climate head folks. I don't know if you've heard anything. But...
No, I haven't heard anything from anyone in particular. Not for NAAE anyway.
That's fine. Yeah, so it sounds like for NAAE at least, I'm trying to organize. It sounds like there's a few maybes. And then Lindsay, you said you're pretty sure you're going to NAAE. Okay. So I'm gonna send, well, for both AGU and AAE, I'm gonna send an email to the CLEAN list asking if anyone wants to submit a proposal together. So I'll do that and see who replies and maybe circle back. Excuse me, circle back with folks who said they're interested.
That sounds good. You said that's
That'd be
for
great.
in NAAE and AGU?
Yeah, I think the AGU, I think the deadlines are really close together, aren't they?
Yeah, they're only 2 days apart.
Yeah, okay, so that's why I'm like, I gotta get on this really quickly here. So yeah, I might just send them out actually in one email together then, and just see. So I'm not
And
thinking-
the AGU, we usually have pretty coordinated presence at AGU as well. And I will just say that we will definitely plan to submit the clean like poster networking sort of session that we always do, Gina and I, and we can organize that. And then beyond that, I think in the past we've done, just sort of depends what the interest is, but sort of 2 to 3-ish, maybe 3 or 4 other sessions of other folks who want to lead on different topics around climate education. I think that'd be a really good idea to do that this year. So yeah, definitely send an email because folks who aren't on this call can join in on that. But like if anybody had interest and wanted to throw out ideas for sessions they might want to lead for AGU, that would be something we could talk about today too, because sometimes having the topics might help people on an email list, like say if they want to jump in or not. Is anyone else going to AGU have interest in convening a session around climate education topics?
That
Again,
tends
the
to be the one that I like to go to, but I don't know for sure what the plan is this year.
Yeah. And I will say for AGU, the sessions are due in April here, but then the actual presentation abstracts are not due till August. And we can technically have people convene without knowing if you're going to attend for the session. So like, you'll need to know by whatever date you have to tell them you're going to attend or not. But the convening, I've actually convened a session virtually too. So that's another option as well if you're not sure you're able to travel. Because there's a couple folks, so usually you can get someone in the room, and like it's actually nice to have someone virtual to help with the hybrid option of presenting.
Yeah, I would definitely be interested at least doing a virtual and some kind of leading if needed, if it's.
In this is something I don't like to do, which is one where you recommend something, but then saying, well, I'm not really ready to do that, which would be convene or lead the entire session or, along that line but nevertheless, hoping that with AGU this year, we can see that there is specific emphasis on having teachers who are actually teaching climate change be represented. I mean, we often have programs and we often have that, but actually, what are the teachers doing? What are the students doing? What is the outcome they're doing? Now, Rachel, you'd be perfect to lead that because whether or not you're going to be in Washington, D.C., I think you definitely fit in that category, as does Carolyn, right? That you all are actually teaching a thing on that, because often we're hearing about the programs, the wonderful things, CLEAN itself, all these things we're doing, but what actually is happening in the schools and what's it like? What are the students doing? That kind of thing. Now, I'm going to say that where I will say is I will see that will happen, but I just don't want to be the programs that I know of are the only ones there. I want to make sure there's lots of them. So, Lindsay, this would be one of maybe having some teachers who participate in the Climate Generation Summer Institute. We do, sometimes we don't. I want to give an example of a teacher who will have plenty of students there who will be there. And so I want to say, let's bring forward more. At one of the high schools I teach at in Washington, D.C., Bard High School, early college, will be Professor Victoria Bampo. She teaches climate change 5 days a week, all semester long. I think that's about as much climate change as we want in any particular school, right? In terms of, that's getting up there where we want. That's a school that's 92% African American and 7% Latinx. She's going to be in DC and to be with the students. So what gets taught and what effect it has is a good thing. Further, if people don't mind, when we're talking about AGU and the subject comes up, I have photographs of what goes on at AGU in those subjects. So in the other one that says Jim Callahan, I can play things. I just don't like to be annoying by having some photos going on and people say, why is somebody showing slides when this is supposed to be just faces? Okay, so for instance, that is the DC Convention Center where the AGU conference will be held in December.
So I had an idea for a session, and maybe this is a good time to throw it out there. Because I keep hearing a little buzz, even in this very meeting today, about climate change and gaming and using gaming as a lesson. And how much do we really know about that? How effective is it? Do we have research? You know, are there folks willing to share their experiences with gaming and climate change education? I think that might be a neat session. I've even been invited to review some articles on that very subject. So I just feel like every other day I keep hearing gaming, climate change education. So I wonder if that could be a session that CLEAN could lead.
Yeah, I think that's definitely, I think, Katie, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there are some game related resources in the CLEAN collection too, so that could have some relevancy there. And I even think, I don't know, this is maybe jumping the gun before I talk to anyone else on my team, but I think our larger CEEE team also has some game related resources as well. So I don't know if anyone from series in general would be interested in participating in a session like that too. But
Yeah, last year actually one of the CLEAN sessions we kind of teamed up and co-hosted with the ELP folks, and I know that Katja from our team and Rachel and like a couple others from that ELP group hosted an actual like game night event at AGU. So there's probably definitely folks who can be a part of a session about that, I'd guess, through either of those groups. Like that'd be another way to do that, is teaming up with the ELP group again, which is the environmental literacy program. For those who don't know, that's a NOAA funded set of projects. Probably, definitely. That's my brain these days, Lindsay.
That's like one of my favorite sayings when people say that. They're like, probably, oh, I want to retract that a little bit, but I still believe in myself.
nice.
I know a couple years ago at an NAAE, there was a half-day workshop on gamification of, environmental ed kinds of things. And it wasn't video games. It really was, it was like how to do the kinds of games that, you might associate with Project Wild or Project Wet, where they're sort of simulating with the students certain concepts. And but I'd have to go back and look through my notes. It definitely was not climate specific, but it was intended to be more, here's how you take something and break it down and make it into a game-like simulation for students. So I think there's great potential. There's a lot of interest out there in this.
Great. Go for it, Gina.
I was just gonna say too, this is always a good thing to remind people. Sorry if I sound like a broken record saying this, but there is, yeah, I would really encourage folks to reach out to people that you think might be having a hard time paying for AGU, and remind them that there is that $50 registration fee. If you have, it's reduced fee if you are an educator and can get a letter from your institution. That's like financial issues are a huge barrier for people to attend. So if you yourself are able to get, a letter from a school or someone that you work with to be able to say I'm an educator, or yes, or if you know a teacher that would like to go, get that letter and send it to the AGU registration team, and it works really great, and it's just helps so much with the registration fee. So I just wanted to say that again, reiterate that before I forget, because it's really important.
And if I might, it would be to amplify on that we not only to have the teachers to definitely bring that up, make that thing, but know with the students, middle and high school students now have the session that is the largest session in all of AGU. You're seeing where they get together at a luncheon. It is also the largest session in all of AGU where our presentation is on climate education and climate. It's done by middle and high school students. This is an enormous thing, and it's free to the students. They can register free, they can attend for free. And I think we'll have somewhere between 6 and 10 presentations just from our students, but want to encourage the students. And that too, it also is, you can present simply online. There are posters and taking a part of it online. So now put that back together again. If teachers, students are part of it, that can be incentive to the teachers in the schools to be there too. So maybe that's circling back to Gina, that I think one of the ways I found that teachers tend to more want to speak out and be at a conference and things is when their students are going to be participating as well.
Yeah, I think it's great to always bring it back to the students, and getting them involved as much as possible, for sure. Thanks for always bringing it back to that, Jim. Yeah, so I like that idea, Rachel. Was that the part of the video that you wanted to share?
No, I don't know if we're gonna have time for it, but we have been working on resilient stories with our kids. We have a whole lesson plan that's surrounding, and we've talked about this, over the course of our program, where the kids create their own resilient story, and we have them on the video format now. And we call it Story on a Sphere, with the ultimate goal of being able to put these stories on a science on a sphere. And so we're working on that right now. And I can show you a flat screen version if we have time.
That's beautiful. Well, yeah, I think we're getting through it, and I do want to talk about AMS too. But I would love to see that, Rachel, and I appreciate you bringing the game idea to the table, because that could maybe help direct us. Yeah, have some kind of direction. So I've been taking down some notes, and we'll try to I'll try to make sure to look out for an email that I send to the listserv. I will try to get everyone's get everyone in an email thread after that, but I don't want to miss anyone, so definitely keep an eye out for the email that I send to the listserv, because I think that I have everyone's email, but there are some that I'm not 100% sure about, and I just wanted to acknowledge that Leah or Leia, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. 'Cause
Leia.
Leia, okay. I don't think that we've connected before specifically, and I definitely want to include you. So, I just, yeah, I don't want to, I want to make sure that I don't exclude you from any of those discussions. Is TCI, is the climate initiative, is that, or is it a different acronym?
Yeah.
Okay.
We've been included before. I just never could attend the meetings before because I had a standing meeting during the same time. So now I'm finally able to attend.
Very fair.
I've been
That is,
around.
okay, great. That is an issue for for many people, unfortunately, at different times in their lives. Great. Well, yes, very good to have TCI representation here. And then, so what about AMS? that's not a conference that I personally am super involved in, but Katie typically goes, and that's a little bit further out, so I'm not sure we even know quite what we're doing with that, but I wanted to throw that one out there too.
I will just say I have attended AMS in the past. I enjoy attending AMS because that's where I come from, that background, moving into climate education. And I think it's a really great space to have a climate education presence. I do not personally have time before my leave to like put a session proposal in. But if anybody else has interest and wants to put a climate education session proposal in, I would love to be on a convening of that with you. I can't guarantee I'm going to attend this year. I'm going to try to, but it just depends if I'm able to or not, with funds and other things of that nature. So yeah, I'm on that like, yes, want to attend, hopefully will. May not be able to, but again, I'd be happy to help if somebody else, but I know there's usually lower interest in AMS, so it's also something that if I am able to attend, I can always put a clean poster in or something like that if there's less interest in an actual session from the group.
It's like UCAR will be there, just good. Good partner that we can connect with. If Katie, if you end up going. I also
Yeah, it's
want
actually funny. We did a really good, put together a really good climate education session 2 years ago. And I ended up on leave for that one. We put the session in before I knew I was pregnant. And so then Skylar was born like literally weeks before AMS happened. But Frank and Deb ended up leading it. I did most of the convening in advance of going. But yeah, it's kind of funny that it seems to be capping my 2 pregnancies here a little bit.
I also wanted to, sorry, Lindsay, talking a lot. I also wanted to see if there's any other conferences that we haven't talked about that people wanted to bring up. Because sometimes I know like some folks were just at STA. There's the climate adaptation forum that I know some people have been going to recently. So I just wanted to make space for that question too, if there's any other pieces that we're missing that would be good to connect about.
Well, Gina, I'll just put one, I don't know if folks have gone in the past. I've gone in the past to the NAI conferences. They've been focusing a bit more on climate too, as of late. So just putting that out there for folks. It's in Florida, December 3rd through 6th. So just want to throw that out there. And the call for presentations is currently open right now. So there's that one. That's a good typically informal ed conference. But it's an interpretation conference. So it's a really good conference typically. So I'll just put that one out there for folks. And then I've submitted, but it's difficult to get a session, but at the Aztec, so it's basically Science and Tech Center conference. And they have been lately doing a big push for sustainability and climate change, which has been nice to see, but it's in the museum space and science center space. So there's that conference as well. I think the deadline to submit is passed, but attending is always it's good as well.
And,
Yeah.
and noting that the Aztec conference did have, I think it was 2008 in that period of time, there was the whole Igloo program. So there was a period of time when Aztec was recommending to all science centers to make climate change a theme, whether it be an exhibit in programs and things. So they have a history of doing, pushing climate change, but as many things, it ebbs and flows.
No, yeah. I Informal ed space is one that I think if the clean staff had more capacity, I think we'd love to tap into that a little bit more, but I know that Aztec in particular was a really popular conference for some of our members. I think Frank Leopold always goes to that, and Jen Kretzer. It's a really big one. So those are very good to know. Yeah, I've heard it's a good conference for sure.
We went to the Green Schools Conference this past, whenever that was. Someone went to it, one of our people found it really good. And it just, I don't know if anyone here goes to it, but we've been trying to get there for a couple of years now, and it's always really far away and costs a lot of money. And then we finally went, and it was really valuable, especially when thinking about systemic change across the school system. So I'll just plug that. We have to plan out in advance to like afford the travel to these conferences, you know, and it's, so if anyone's thinking about going to that like next year, we'd be down. I think for proposals, they typically require diverse teams to apply across organizations. So
I'll
that
just,
could, go ahead.
I'll just note for Aztec that it's got a high registration cost, but it actually includes almost all the meals. So it ends up not being more expensive than other conferences.
Nice.
I know there's so many conferences that we have interest and stake in trying to attend
Mhm.
various ways, but yeah, there's only so much funding and time, right?
A
And
question,
people to attend.
a question, just asking colleagues here, how much does it make a difference when a given conference is like within 50 miles of you? I mean, because, and what I'm getting at is like, that's one of the advantages of having a national network is hopefully we have some of our representatives in a lot of different places.
I mean, that's huge. Like we had NSTA in Denver this year, and like we were all able to go down there versus, you know, usually we would send like a clean ambassador to NSTA for us. We wouldn't attend at all. And maybe someone from our team, like our curriculum development team, would go, but you know, like one person versus we had like, I don't even know how many from the CEEE group, the larger group I'm part of, attended. There's at least 6 of us. I'm just thinking of off the top of my head, you know, and we had quite a presence. It was really great. So yeah, I think that the distance makes a big deal or big difference. Gina also, like with NAAE being close to her this year, that's part of why like there's more chance she's able to attend that. So yeah, I agree, Jim. That makes a big difference.
Yeah, me too. I'm really trying to not get on airplanes as much as possible, both for climate reasons and because as a big guy, it's miserable. So conferences in the neighborhood are much more likely to get me there.
Also-
I also, oh, go ahead.
Oh, I'm so sorry. No, I was just like, yeah, no, I'm also avoiding planes for the time being, but that's more just because I like vehicles where the doors stay on, and I'm a little bit concerned, not gonna lie.
I don't particularly like flying either. I wish we had better train options in this country. But I saw a couple of people say this. I also have to go and transition to another meeting, kind of prep for it for a couple minutes. So Gina, I just wanted to like circle back around to like where you were going to send an email out to the CLEAN network about some of this and see if we can kind of organize through email that way for some of these. Sounds like AGU and NAAE had the most interest, but especially AGU in terms of some co-convening of sessions.
Yep, I'll send out an
Awesome.
email and try to remember. I was trying to take notes on who said they were going to what, so I'll reach out directly after that.
Thank you, Gina, for taking that on. I appreciate you organizing.
Yeah, and good to see everyone. Rachel, maybe we can watch your video at the next clean call. And Lindsay left, but thanks to her for facilitating. And
Thanks, everyone.
see you all later.
Good
Oh,
to
bye,
see you.
Carrie.
Bye.
Thanks all.
Good to see you all.
We'll miss you,
Bye-bye.
Carrie.